A single bolt of hand-woven silk lies unrolled across dark pine planks, painted not with flowers in full bloom, but with silent branches waiting for frost. A woman folds the cloth inward against her chest, hiding its brightest colors where only her own heart can feel them. Early morning in the Nishijin district of Kyoto carries a sound that stays with you long after you leave. It is the rhythmic, sharp click of wooden geta clogs against damp cobblestone, echoing between narrow cedar houses before the city fully wakes. The morning air is cold and smells of wet moss, burning pine incense, and the faint, sweet aroma of toasted tea leaves drifting from a corner shop whose wooden shutters are only halfway open. Walking through these alleyways as mist hangs low over the curved tile roofs, you notice a woman moving slightly ahead of us. Her name is forgotten to the morning, but her presence fills the street. She wears a slate gray silk garment, simple at a distance. Yet as she passes beneath a warm street lantern, faint silver threads catch the amber light like frost clinging to winter grass. Her stride is small and perfectly measured. She does not hurry, nor does she glide. She moves with a quiet, grounded gravity that seems completely out of place in a world obsessed with speed. To watch someone wear a traditional kimono in modern Japan is to witness an ancient ceremony unfolding in real time. It is a garment crafted from a single bolt of silk, folded, tucked, and bound by knotted cords, requiring patient preparation just to step outside into the morning light. Watching her, a quiet question begins to surface. In a world that demands we move faster every single day, why would anyone choose to spend hours wrapping themselves in heavy silk? What is hidden inside these quiet folds that modern life has forgotten? Welcome to Culture Journey. If you look at Japan through a camera lens, you might see high-speed train lines, glowing neon towers, and crowded Shibuya crossings that never sleep. But if you stand quiet long enough in an old neighborhood, you begin to sense another tempo entirely. It is a slow, rhythmic pulse beat that has stayed steady for over 1,000 years. In many parts of the world, we view clothing as a statement of personal status or a fleeting fashion trend that changes every few months. But here, clothing is something far more profound. It is an act of deep, quiet listening. To wear a kimono is not simply to put on a dress. It is to wear the weather. It is to carry the smell of rain, the weight of the winter sky, and the promise of autumn leaves directly upon your body. For centuries, Japanese culture has observed the calendar not through 4 broad seasons, but through 72 distinct micro-seasons, each lasting merely 5 days. A subtle shift in the damp wind, the arrival of morning dew on bamboo leaves, the first call of a spring nightingale, all of these tiny moments are tracked, honored, and woven into thread. The kimono became the canvas where human beings made peace with time. It taught people how to live inside the present moment before it slipped away entirely. But to truly understand this, to see how a simple garment can physically alter the way a human heart beats, we have to step out of the rain. We arrive at a small wooden townhouse nestled along a quiet canal near the Kamo River. Here lives Takako, a 74-year-old master kimono dresser and dye artisan who has spent more than 5 decades working with silk. Her workshop smells of dried indigo leaves, old paper, sandalwood, and steam. When you cross her wooden threshold, the distant hum of urban traffic disappears, replaced by the soft sliding sound of paper shoji doors and the gentle hiss of an iron heating over charcoal. Takako sits on the straw tatami mat with her knees folded beneath her, her back perfectly straight without looking tense. Her hair is pinned neatly with a smooth wooden comb, and her hands are small, strong, and faintly stained blue at the fingertips from decades of dipping threads into natural indigo vats. When I sit across from her, she pours a cup of hot roasted green tea. The steam rises between us, smelling of rich earth and toasted grain. She looks at my traveling clothes, then smiles gently, her eyes crinkling at the corners. She tells me that most people today think of the kimono as a rigid museum piece, something uncomfortable, preserved only for formal weddings or tea ceremonies. But as her fingers lightly trace the edge of a folded silk sleeve resting on the low wooden table beside us, she shakes her head. Clothing, Takako whispers, should never be a cage. It should be a house you carry with you, built to keep your soul grounded while the world spins outside. Takako reaches behind her and gently lifts a heavy kimono crafted from cream-colored silk. She spreads it across the dark floor mats. Painted along the lower hem are delicate branches carrying pale pink plum blossoms. It is early March, and outside her window, the plum trees in Kyoto are just beginning to open their buds. Naturally, I assume this garment is meant to be worn today. Takako smiles and shakes her head softly, gently touching my wrist. This is where I learned the first hidden truth of this art. In Japanese tradition, wearing a kimono painted with full cherry blossoms while standing under actual cherry trees in bloom is considered a subtle blunder. It is seen as insensitive, almost arrogant. Why? Because human artifice should never attempt to compete with nature at the peak of its glory. You will always lose to the living tree. Instead, the true master of kimono follows the law of anticipation and memory. You wear the plum blossom garment 10 days before the real flowers bloom, signaling to everyone who sees you that spring is approaching. You welcome the season before it arrives. And once the trees outside are bursting with full color, you change your garment to showcase the coming season, or you wear soft, plain patterns that allow nature to take center stage. To wear a kimono is to practice humility toward the earth. You are not showcasing yourself. You are announcing to the world what nature is about to do. I watch her smooth down the cream silk with the palm of her hand. The sound of her skin against the dry woven threads is like dry leaves rustling in a quiet courtyard. In that small gesture, you realize that every garment in her cedar chests is a living calendar, waiting for its precise 5-day window in the year. Takako invites me to stand so she can demonstrate how a kimono is constructed. Western tailoring shapes fabric to fit the curves of a human body, cutting and altering the cloth. But a kimono follows a different philosophy entirely. Crafted from a single, unbroken bolt of silk, known as a tanmono, it is cut strictly in straight lines. There are no curved armholes, no tailored darts, and no discarded scraps. Nothing is thrown away. If a person gains or loses weight, or if the garment is passed down from a mother to a daughter, the fabric is never recut. It is simply folded differently, tucked higher, or tied with more or less tension. As Takako begins folding the long panels of heavy silk around my shoulders, the weight of the garment feels surprisingly grounding. It feels like being held firmly by warm hands. Then comes the tying of the obi, the wide sash that wraps around the waist. Takako pulls the stiff, embroidered fabric snug against my lower spine and ties a series of hidden cotton cords beneath it. Suddenly, my posture changes completely. You cannot slouch in a kimono. The fabric supports your lower abdomen, forcing your shoulders to drop, your spine to align, and your breathing to descend deep into your belly. She adjusts the collar, leaving a small space at the back of the neck, an area considered deeply elegant in Japanese aesthetics. Stand still for a moment, Takako tells me softly, checking the alignment in an oval mirror. Feel the space between your skin and the silk. In Japanese culture, there is a deep appreciation for the space between things. In art and music, it is called the silent, deliberate pause. In the physical drape of a garment, it is a sense of yutori, a gentle spaciousness. A kimono is not designed to cling tightly to your body. It is designed to create a portable room of quiet air between you and the outside world. When you walk, the air inside that space moves with you, keeping you cool in humid summers and warm in freezing winters. I look into the mirror and barely recognize my own frame. My stride is naturally shortened. My hands fall softly across my front. The garment does not force you through physical pain. It gently invites you into slowness. Have you ever worn something in your life that changed not just how you looked, but how fast your heart beat, or how deeply you drew air into your lungs? Later that afternoon, I leave Takako's peaceful sanctuary and walk toward Kyoto Station. The contrast hits you like a sudden wave of cold wind. Here, beneath thousands of square meters of glass and steel structure, electric display boards flash with bright white numbers. Shinkansen bullet trains glide silently along elevated tracks at nearly 300 kilometers per hour. Thousands of commuters in dark business suits and rubber-soled shoes rush past each other, eyes glued to glowing smartphone screens. It is the pulsing heart of modern hyper-efficiency. And yet, right there on Platform 4, Standing amidst the sea of dark suits and fast-moving travelers is a young woman in her early 20s. She wears a deep plum kimono patterned with gold autumn leaves, her hair swept up neatly with a tortoiseshell pin. She holds a small cloth bag in her hands and waits for the train doors to open. No one stares at her as if she is wearing a costume. No one finds it strange. It is tempting to look at this and see a paradox. The ancient world standing stubbornly inside the digital future. But to the people here, these are not opposing forces. The society that engineers the fastest machines on Earth is the exact same society that understands the vital necessity of slowness. The kimono is not a retreat from the modern world. It is a grounding anchor within it. The young woman steps into the high-speed train car, her silk hem brushing softly against the metallic doorframe. She brings a piece of quiet history directly into the high-speed future. It makes you wonder if traditions do not survive by resisting modernity, but by offering modern people a sanctuary of stillness inside the noise. By late evening, the rain has returned to Kyoto, tapping steadily against the wooden sliding shutters of Takako's house. I return to her workshop to return the garments and watch her clean her tools. The room is dimly lit by a single paper lamp that casts long, warm shadows across the tatami mats. The room smells of old Paulownia wood chests, which Takako uses to store her most precious silk collections because the wood naturally repels humidity and insects. She opens a bottom drawer and gently lifts a heavy black silk kimono known as a kurotomesode, worn by married women for formal celebrations. On the outside, the garment is overwhelmingly plain, deep black, with only small family crests printed on the chest and sleeves. "Look inside," Takako says with a quiet glint in her eye. She turns the edge of the hem outward. There, hidden completely on the inner lining of the skirt where no stranger on the street will ever see it, is an astonishing hand-painted landscape of silver rivers, golden pine trees, and floating cranes. This is the third discovery, and perhaps the most poetic truth of the kimono, the concept of ura-masari, the beauty of hidden things. During the Edo period, rich merchant classes were forbidden by strict feudal laws from displaying wealth publicly. So, driven by a spirit of iki, a chic, quiet, and slightly rebellious elegance, Japanese artisans began painting their finest masterworks on the inner linings of sleeves and the hidden folds of the hem. True beauty was not meant to be paraded before the eyes of strangers. It was meant to be a private secret between the wearer and those they loved. It was beauty kept for oneself, a quiet inner dignity that did not need public applause. Takako folds the black silk back into place with practiced, reverent hands. "This black kimono belonged to my grandmother," she says softly, her voice barely louder than the patter of rain outside. "My mother wore it when she married my father in 1952. I wore it 30 years later, and next month, my granddaughter will wear it in Tokyo." Because a kimono is cut from straight lines and never recut, a single garment can survive for over 100 years, passing through 4 generations of women. Each mother folds it slightly differently to fit her daughter's frame. The silk holds the faint scent of incense from old drawers, the weight of family memories, and the quiet presence of women who walked in it decades before. When you put on a family kimono, Takako tells me, rubbing her thumbs gently across the folded edge, you are never walking alone. You are wrapped in the embrace of your ancestors. I sit quietly in the corner of her workshop as Takako places the folded silk back into its Paulownia wood box. Outside, the rain drops off the dark bamboo stalks in the small garden courtyard, landing on wet stone lanterns with a soft rhythmic sound. Standing in that room, smelling the ancient silk and old wood, it becomes difficult not to reflect on our own lives in the modern world. Most of us wear clothes that were mass-produced thousands of miles away by machines, worn for a single season, and thrown away when trends shift next spring. We live in a culture of constant replacement, where fast fashion mirrors our fast lives. We throw away garments when they show wear, just as we often discard routines, places, and relationships when they no longer feel convenient. When was the last time you owned something that was made to last longer than your own lifetime? Something meant to be passed down, holding your memories inside its threads for someone who has not even been born yet. Perhaps that is why so many travelers feel an inexplicable ache when they see a kimono moving down a quiet street in Kyoto. It is not just exotic beauty we are reacting to. It is a deep, forgotten longing for permanence, for slowness, and for a way of living that honors the passage of time rather than trying to conquer it. The night grows deeper, and the rain softens to a fine mist over the Kamo River. Takako walks me to her front entrance, stepping down into the stone entryway to help me slide my boots back on. Her wooden townhouse is quiet, wrapped in the dark warmth of cedar and old paper. As I step out into the cool night air, she stands in the soft light of her doorway, her slate gray kimono wrapped closely around her, bowing slightly as she bids me goodbye. Walking back through the sleeping streets of Nishijin, the sound of my own footsteps feels different now. The city around us is quiet. The cherry branches overhead are bare, waiting in dark patience for the warmth of next month to wake them. To wear the four seasons is not about fashion, luxury, or status. It is a profound human practice. It is about remembering that we are not separate from the world around us. We are part of the falling leaf, the opening plum bud, the winter frost, and the summer rain. When you learn to dress for the season you are living in, both outside in nature and inside your own heart, you stop rushing toward the next destination. You realize that this fleeting moment, right now, is the only one we are given to wear. Thank you for walking through Kyoto with me today on Culture Journey. If this quiet exploration brought a moment of stillness to your day, please consider subscribing to our channel, leaving a warm thought in the comments below, and sharing this journey with someone who loves the quiet depth of the world. There are so many more hidden streets to walk, so many subtle stories waiting in remote corners of the earth, and I would be honored to have you beside me on the next path. Until next time, travel gently, stay curious, and take care of each other out there.